And great day, everybody. Great day. It is the Thursday Thought, and I am Marian, Sister Afua of Exponential Existence. We are here on our Thursday Thought. This is our private time for us to have a conversation about some things that can help us be able to have our best life, which is our exponential existence. Exponential Existence is a personal development and inner transformation company located in Arizona. We do coaching, training, as well as live events to help you repurpose and acknowledge the higher parts of who you are. Absolutely. I am beyond excited about how we can exit out into our greatest life. Too much of who we are. We got a little bit of feedback going on. So I just want to silence. Absolutely, positively. So we are going live. I am ready. Yay. So here's what we're going to be doing tonight. Listen, I don't know what I did, but I did something, but we're good. All right. So tonight, as I said, we're going to be talking about, courage over comfort, courage over comfort. And that conversation came up because I thought I was watching The Wiz, which is the African-American version of The Wiz. And I started saying to myself, like what? Like the lion. I mean, they had just gone through this scene. I focused on the lion this time. I just really looked at his story. And his story spoke to me, and it reminded me when he was going through the fields of poppies, kind of like our situation now. We're just so uncertain. We want to enjoy ourselves. Initially, it was like, okay, I can quarantine for 14 days. But now there's been a lot more days. And some of us are just like, whoa, what do I do? Some of the comforts that we're used to, going to the barbershop, going to the salon, going to the nail salons, going out to the gym, all of that, all those comforts, massage therapy, oh, hello, talk to me, right? Are all those things that we become very comfortable with. Our lifestyle became very comfortable. We became very comfortable going to work every day. We became very comfortable traveling freely. We became very comfortable just having a simple conversation in the grocery store. And that conversation now could mean that you could end up sick or that you could make someone else sick, not even meaning to. So that's the uncertainty. Let's put that out there right now. That's the uncertainty that we're all dealing with and coping with. We're all coping with that. But today on the Thursday Night Thought, I want to encourage you to think about things differently. That's why I put my sign up. I think I can turn, I don't know if I can turn myself for you to see it or not. Probably not. I think I'm blocking the screen. But it says, think about things differently. And differently is upside down. And the reason why that's so important is because just like the lion, Dorothy, Tin Man, Scarecrow, they all were thinking based upon someone else's perception, someone else's interpretation, someone else's thoughts, someone else's advice, someone else's disregard. Now, this doesn't apply to our current situation because we know that this situation, this pandemic, this virus, this illness is real. There's no getting around it. It is real. And if it's real, that means that we have to understand that there's some things that we can't do. There are some choices that we have to make that require us to really live our lives a little differently. Are we going to be comfortable? Probably not. But if we can just go back, if we can just go back and examine the parts of us that we really want to experience, if we can just come back and allow ourselves to live in such a way that lets us really examine who we are, why we're here, and what we want to do, it means we got to be courageous. We got to have courage. We got to understand where we are and who we are and how to think differently. So this movie with the Scarecrow, Dorothy, Tin Man, and the lion, it made me say, like, how could he not think, even for one moment, no one had an aha moment that they already had everything they needed? They all had everything that they needed, even as they started this journey of uncertainty, this journey with all this hope and all this anticipation. And that's how most of us started 2020. We started 2020 with this whole thing. We're going to rock it out. We're going to do all these great things. 2020 is the year. We're going to da-da-da, all of these things. But then we got served something. We got served a monkey wrench. Something was thrown into our space. But like the lion, as he found himself on this journey, being courageous, can you imagine that you're meeting strangers that don't look like you, but yet you decide to link up arms and ease on down the road? And you have these adventures and you have these moments where your strengths and their weaknesses are matched and vice versa, and you're able to accomplish something. Courage, courage. Courage is what we're talking about tonight. How do we have courage versus getting stuck in our comfort? See, the lion had gone through this. They were easing down the road and they came across this poppy seed. And in this poppy seed field, he kind of pulled Dorothy into it, and they got in trouble, and he's pulled her out and he tried to save her, and he was crying over her. The Tin Man starts crying over her, and it wakes her up, and the lion is so downtrodden. He's feeling like, hey, what did I do? But he actually saved her. And even in that moment of him being courageous and saving Dorothy, he was overridden with the guilt, and he was consumed by what he believed he had done, not realizing what he had actually done. And so Dorothy begins to sing this song, and she says, you're a lion, strong and tall. Be a lion, right? And so and she said, you have a mighty roar. And then he gets up and starts singing, and it's just really about that. But he still doesn't believe he has the courage. He still doesn't understand that his courage is already present. He still doesn't understand that who he is insurmountable to the circumstances and conditions that he's already experienced. He still hasn't examined the fact that he's still riding high in the knowing of who he is. Oh yeah. This story had me thinking about being courageous, because we don't need to contract. We don't need to hide ourselves. We don't need to sit in the pool of worry about what we coulda, woulda, shoulda. We need to be focusing on what we have done and what we can do. And what I said was, when I thought about him, I said he left. He broke out of this shell and talked to these strangers, told them his story, and began on this journey to ease on down the road. And he began to think about things differently than what he had been doing. He wasn't sitting on the library steps as a decoration, hiding, cowering down, not expressing himself, not letting his roar out. He decided to get on the road and start easing on down the road to go see the Wiz. And the Wiz was going to give him his courage, and going to give Scarecrow his brain, and give the Tin Man a heart, and give Dorothy her way back home. But neither of them ever thought about it, because when we're in the middle of a condition and a circumstance, we have no idea what the possibilities are. Because in that very moment, just for a moment, we're so stuck in our comfort zone, the comfort zone of being denied, the comfort zone of being told by other people in our ears and putting images in front of us, that we really can't see what exactly we already are ready to receive or reveal. Receive or reveal. We're not willing to receive and reveal because we're being distracted by all the noise and chaos around us in our environments, in our conditions, in our circumstances. So I'm encouraging you tonight, and my message tonight again is for you to think about things differently and choose courage over comfort. Choose the courage for you to begin to think about some options that you may be able to do. Back in the beginning of 2020, I shared with you all that, my family at Exponential Existence, I said, hey, this is not the year for clicks. This is not the year for clicks. Woo! This is not the year for clicks. This is not the year for you to be comfortable with the same people and the same conversations. And then one of the very first events that I did this year in January, the person said this from the stage: you cannot become extraordinary sitting around ordinary people. You cannot continue to be extraordinary. You cannot develop into extraordinary if you're sitting around ordinary people doing ordinary things, getting ordinary results. So they just confirmed what was given to me prior to 2020. Additionally, when you look at your life, when we're looking at ourselves and we're reflecting, we know this is a trying time. It's uncertainty. None of us has ever been here before. And if we have, we have not. Maybe we have a loved one that has experienced something of this nature before, but we can't go out of our houses. We're afraid. We can't control the grocery stores being open. We can't control, whether or not, we can get into a store in groups or not. We can't control when they open back up the cities and the states again. Because ultimately it is about us controlling the things we can control. And what can you control? You can control your choices. You can control your conversations, and you can control your connections. On Tuesday, I talked about, for my business group, for my 2-minute talk on Tuesday, I encourage people to pick up the phone, reach out and touch somebody's hand. Reach out and touch someone and have a connection with them and see how you can serve and how you can provide some care to them, even from a virtual perspective. Many of us that have businesses, we have a lot of products and skills. You have ingenuity. You have an imagination. So sure, you can't have a group of people in your room, but can you use a virtual platform? No, you may not be able to let people walk into your store and touch and feel your product, but can you touch and feel your product? Can you bring some remembrance to them of what it feels like to touch it? What it might smell like, how it might benefit? Because then and only then will you be able to show your true courageousness. That's part of courageousness, to be imaginative. To right here, people said pivot. No, some of us have to do a 360. Some of us have to revise, revamp, redo, and recreate. And some of us scrap everything for now and do something new. Let's be courageous. Let's be courageous and create some spaces and support each other and connect in a way that allows us to show those people on the front line that they're not in vain. That we're okay with developing the higher parts of ourselves so we can be in service. So we can create these gift baskets so that we can make an encouraging phone call or a business card or not a business card, what is it called? Like a little card that you can send out to people. Maybe you need to send out audio messages or videos like I do. But what you want to do is you want to make yourself available to be courageous. Reminding you of that story that I often tell you about when I'm 20 years old, sitting in my Africology course at the university, and we're reading these articles that are women and men that were bold and courageous enough to escape from enslavement and slavery. And I still can't remember the book. I always have a look for the book in the boxes, and I never do. But I just remember the red cover. And one of the things this one particular story, why it stands out to me the most, one, because it was a woman. Two, she was very young. And she said that it also reminded me of a story I read by Margaret Walker. There's a story that she talks about a woman who's getting beat, and she talks about how that got whipped, right, till her wounds are open, sawed is poured inside. But this particular woman said, I remember the line vividly, and it said, "When Massa sold my father, my heart broke. When Massa sold my mama, I knew that if I was going to live, I would have to run." I was like, what? Like, how do you do that? How do you don't know anything but the plantation, and you're not allowed to go outside. And this woman, and she went on to tell us in her story that she began to stay up at night, and she would watch the comings and the goings that happens on the plantation. And that she said it seemed like it was 100 or 1,000 moons had passed before she would know. And then finally, what happened is this a free Black man came, and he was working on some carvings in the big house on the plantation, in the plantation house. And she got the courage up. After about the third time of him being there, she got the courage up to talk to him. And she asked him, how could he move around so freely? And he said, I'm a free man. And he told her about his travels and he told her about how he got his freedom. And she said that just set something off inside of her even more. And so she said she waited for him to come and go 3 more times. And on that 3rd time, she left. And she left to travel a road she had never traveled before. She left to travel and have after having a conversation with someone that was not who she would normally speak to. After being on a place that with everything she'd ever known, she had to leave behind and start new. And yes, obviously she made herself to freedom, made her way to freedom. But many of us who are not enslaved, who are not in bondage to a physical bondage, are in emotional, mental bondage right now. Emotionally and mentally, we are saying, I'm comfortable. Like, I got to do this thing this way, and this is the only way I can do it. I got to talk to these people and these people only. And that's just the way it is. And I need to have this amount of money. And if I can't get that money, it won't be right. And I'm telling you, that's the comfort. That's the comfort that keeps you bound. That's the paradigm. That's the belief system. That's the thought pattern that creates the habit that keeps you boxed in and constricted and contracting and functioning out of fear instead of courageousness. When you're courageous, you allow your imagination to reveal and allow you to receive information that can boost you to the next level. Absolutely, positively, so it is. So if you're going to be courageous, you need to talk to people that you normally wouldn't talk to. Listen to people that you normally would not listen to. Do behaviors that you normally would not do. Connect with people. Find the parts of you that need fulfillment, that need comfort, that need support, that need guidance where it needs to be. Even sometimes it may be you have to have a conversation and or listen to who you thought was your competitor. Told you clicks won't work now because it's about what do you really want? You are a servant. You have something to serve from, whether you have a business or whether you just have the business of you. Either way, you're going to have to invest in the conversation. To be courageous means that you have to be willing to take the steps of action. Just like the lion. Can you imagine that? I mean, we never thought of that because we always saw the Wizard of Oz and the Wiz as a child as just being something that was a great story. And they were going to the Wiz, and at the end, Glinda comes and makes everything good. But the real story is that the lion, Dorothy, the Tin Man, and the Scarecrow all talked to strangers or people that were unfamiliar and very different with their own set of problems. But yet when they linked up those arms and they eased on down the road, they got to a place where they have experiences and imaginations. And they developed and they grew and they expanded. Because this is the time to expand. It's not the time for you to contract and fold your arms and get upset and wait for people because they're not doing things the way you want them to do them. It is time for us to get into gear, y'all. It's time for us to rise into a higher place of our greatness. It's time for us to begin to fly again. We may not be able to go fly from place to place yet, but it's going to happen. But you have the computer, you have a phone, you have your voice, you have your words, you have your eyes, you have your smile. You know, we all have gotten that. So I remind you that you want to seek courage, not just stay comfortable. We know we got the conditions. We know what we're dealing with in our environment. In our current global situation, we get it. But what can you control right here is you can control your choice to be courageous. My last thing I wanted to share with y'all tonight about being courageous. I was flipping through social media and I came across this video where they were releasing this bird back into the wild. I'm assuming it starts at a weird spot and it ends with this bird beautifully soaring. And even now I feel like I'm gonna well back up. It was such a beautiful sight. I found myself analyzing this bird. So they had the bird and you see the bird kind of wobble itself out away from the people that were helping it. And then you see this bird, it had its wings tight, tightly tucked. So I just can imagine that possibly this bird was hurt or injured in some kind of way. And they needed to, help it be strong and healthy to be viable. So as it first starts walking, it has its arms tucked and it's just walking. And then you see it kind of flapping its wings. And then it walks a little bit more, and then it flaps a wing. And then you can even hear in the video, like the strong wind comes and he kind of raises his wings up. And I liken to say that possibly at that moment, that bird was like, wow, I mean, I'm not going to push my wings out too much. I want to spread my wings out because I haven't been able to, but maybe, just maybe if I spread my wings out, they might fail me again and I won't be able to fly. And I just, I see the sky and I want to be back up in that sky again. And I want to experience the sun and I want to experience the wind being my friend beneath my wings. And so you would see him just kind of do it. But the bird had to start thinking differently from what it knew for so long or however long it had been in captivity. And then all of a sudden, this bird is flapping its arms and flapping its arms. And then it's just kind of soared out. Yes, it soared. It just spread its wings and it just would start flying and soaring. And I started crying because at that moment I felt that I too had realized that maybe I haven't been flapping. Maybe I've just been flapping my wings. I haven't been allowing them to be caught by the wind and to actually use them to fly. That I was using them only just to kind of soar. And I was getting right. Oh my gosh, it was such a message for me that so many of us are so used to being condemned. We're so worried about what others are going to say. I had a client say to me, I'm afraid to sell anything because I don't want people to think I'm insensitive about the times. We're 5 weeks in. People need your products. People want to hear your voice. People want to see you. They got used to you. Reinvent, recreate, at your level. No, it's not about all the money. It's about, can you be courageous enough to trust that what you have to offer is what people are waiting for? What people need is what you have. Can you consider that just for a moment? Instead of being comfortable and contracting like everyone else and worrying and doubting and being caught up in uncertainty and not making any moves, you don't want to look back on this and say, hey, during that time, I just kind of let it flow. You are your greatest asset. So you hold it, the revealing and the receiving, because those thoughts that are coming into our mind, those conversations that are coming to our mind are framing us into paradigms. These paradigms are boxing us in because your thoughts match with your beliefs and they frame your reality. So if your belief is off, no, it doesn't matter what the thought was. If your belief is off, when they get together, you're going to be in conflict. And that's where many of us are. And that's why I talk about the 6 life structures all the time. If any of those 6 life structures are out of harmonic existence, then you can't take a seat in life securely. You're going to be wobbling and channeling and trying to figure out how to find balance until you think differently, until you become courageous and you go into action. Like that bird who just, tested it out a little bit. Let me test it out. Let me test it out. Let me test it out. And then finally took flight. Those beautiful wings. Oh my gosh. Even now, it was so beautiful to see freedom in action. How often do we get that? When's the last time you allowed yourself to experience true freedom in action? based upon your creation of your movement of all of your skills, your abilities, your processes. When was the last time? Start today. Start tomorrow. And if you think this message has been something to benefit you, then definitely let's stay in the family. All you got to do is go to my website and join my mailing list. exponentialexistence.com/connect. That's it. Just connect with me. That's what's going to get us through, to connect with more people, to build up this foundation, to shield ourselves and create a new reality based upon our true perceptions of life, regaining and reclaiming our power to control those things that we can, and to leverage our greatest asset, which is ourselves, and our second greatest asset, which is our time. The 6 life structures have to be in harmonic existence. And that only happens if we're courageous. Your mental, emotional, your spiritual, your physical body, your community, your finances, your health. If these 6 life structures are, if any of them are out of sync, if you're not able to have quality relationships within your community, whether that's a love relationship or a business relationship or social relationship, it's difficult for you to sit in your seat of life and enjoy it because there's not a harmonic existence. So come on and join our family and let's have more conversations like this. You get a newsletter every 2 weeks. You get videos like this all the time. Get access to more videos like this and some of my friends and events that I participate in. You get a chance to have access to that. It is a great place to be when you're courageous. I've given you 3 examples today. 3 examples of courage. 3. And those 3 examples show each and every one of us in some aspect. I know I found myself in them. So I am Dr. Marian, Sister Afu of Exponential Existence. Our company is here in Arizona. We thank you for joining us. Want to invite you to an event that's going to happen on May 12th. It's a no-cost event. It's called Voices of Mastery. We just had our first one back in April, and I'm telling y'all, it was the bomb. We had some great speakers. It's right here on our YouTube channel. You can look for Voices of Mastery. Replay is on YouTube. You can follow us. Go ahead and sign up for that as well. Sign up for the Voices of Mastery as well. And the links are in the bottom of this video right here. Go over to my website at exponentialexistence.com and sign up. I'm telling you, you sign up, you'll see. When you have accountability, when you have fun, accountability, knowledge, exchanges, and you're just going to have so much going on. Because I understand, I'm just a facilitator. I know when to be the leader is when I'm doing my coaching training, right? But I understand family. And I'm inviting you to be a part of mine. So go ahead and do it right now. Go over there, join our family. All right. Until next time, y'all, remember that when things begin to cloud your way, make you feel like you just can't go on, stop, scream out nice and loud, and know that it's only a bad dream until you start to believe it. Until next time. Bye now.